Hello. So today we're going to be talking about CVs, and we're recording this video in two parts. So part one will be about CVs in general, so they'll be useful for anybody that finds themselves having to search for a job. And the second part we'll be talking about the construction industry, trades, engineering specifically. And with me today is Amelia Brooke from ABCV. abcvsolutions.co.uk, that's right, isn't it?
.com.
.com, sorry. Who will be, all the details will be below, who will be talking us through both general tips and ways to approach your CV, and then more specific tips and ideas for people within those construction, manufacturing, engineering industries. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, tell me a little bit about yourself, Amelia.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Paula. Thanks for having me on. I am the AB of ABCV Solutions. I've been writing CVs for many, many years now, but in 2014, I established ABCV Solutions, and we provide professional CV writing, LinkedIn, cover letters, and also more recently, social media management, which is effectively online professional branding for candidates. And we'll talk a bit more about professional branding later in the section.
Right, and you actually have a background within those sort of engineering construction industries, is that right?
I do, in two parts actually. I am a former technical recruiter, so I've worked in Australia and in the UK as a recruiter within the engineering and technical sphere. I've recruited candidates in the UK, Europe, Middle East and Africa, and the roles are primarily engineering and technical specialists, but some people don't really understand what technical specialist refers to. So obviously an engineer is quite understandable, mechanical, electrical, civil and so on. But the technical specialists play a fundamental role in the delivery of engineering projects and operations. So technical specialists could be anyone from a project administrator to a cost accountant to a planner, supply chain management, logistics, and so on. So the range of roles is really interesting. The range of candidates I come across from day to day from all around the world is extremely broad. Although people think I have a relatively niche business, it's not necessarily the case.
Great, great. Okay, so let's kick off with some advice around CVs in general. There are a lot of people out there watching this who have been made redundant. We were talking a little bit earlier before the call, and you were mentioning about how many sites there are out there on Google that can help you put a CV together. To be honest, actually, when I've looked at those, quite often they offer conflicting information. So I feel no better off than may have been just by going for the traditional, what I learned at school thing. So tell us a little bit about what you think makes a good CV.
Absolutely. And to be honest, there's probably nothing wrong with what you learned at school. Although, yes, the whole recruitment, the way that recruiting is done these days has changed. The CV has to adapt. But absolutely, you hit Google, you're right. You're going to see the top do's and don'ts of CV writing. And I'm not necessarily here today to talk about those for you. What I want to do is take it back a step and talk about the fundamentals of job searching. But before I get into that, just so there's no quabbles, just a couple of simple do's and don'ts. You're going to find this anywhere, but please don't include your date of birth. Don't include your marital status, how many children you have. I sometimes see CVs of national insurance numbers and passport numbers. Please don't include those. Other things to think about is please do have a professional sounding email address. You know, wacky89@hotmail.com is not really going to create a great first impression. If that's the only email address you have, consider setting up a new email account, absolutely free, just using your name and using that exclusively for your job searching. That way, there's no chance of any invitation to an interview or response going out from the wrong email address. Other things to think about with the do's and don'ts, please don't copy your job description into your CV. It's not you, okay? There's so many job descriptions out there and it's not going to differentiate you. Don't over-design a CV. The reason being, when the reader reads them, they're not going to know where to start. The chances are they're going to skip sections and miss out on key information. They're the basics. You're going to find them anywhere. But for a job search, when you start thinking about putting your LinkedIn, CV, cover letter together, any other marketing materials you want to, if you think about the important elements of the job search, then you're able to understand and affect the way in which the CV needs to be created and what key messages need to be put in the CV. So to expand, the most important part of a CV writing in the modern world is your personal brands, your professional brands. Now, this is either a tagline, a strapline, a selection of words that describes who you are and what your key skills are. Now, they are the words, the keywords describe who you are, but at the same time, they differentiate you from the other candidates. So for example, if you're looking at what am I good at? What am I best known for? Where have I worked in the world? What have I done that's unique that no other candidate or very few candidates have done? Put those words together. So for example, I could easily put, as a CV writer, I could put on my CV writing, LinkedIn optimization, and all the services that I rattled off at the beginning. But I could also add a strapline. I could have something like advancing the careers of engineers and technical specialists worldwide through effective CV writing. There's lots of ways you can do that. Write those things down. You don't have to perfect the wording right away. Difference between understanding your personal brand means that not only will the reader understand who you are more quickly, but you'll also differentiate yourself from the other candidates. Not including or identifying your personal brand basically risk you becoming a commodity, another mechanical engineer, another electrical engineer, another project manager. And we all know that these functions do completely different roles depending on the nature of where they're working. If you become a commodity, you're no different from the others. Your CV is simply a CV in a stack of documents or a stack of paper on somebody's desk. The second thing to think about, again, this is before you start writing the CV, is understand the mindset of an employer, who the business is. Now, there are various motivations for companies being in business, but fundamentally, businesses only exist for two reasons: to make money and to save money. That's what they do at a macro level. So it will depend on your job function. You might be the first person that picks up the phone and speaks to the customer every time they call. You might be involved in the project management, the delivery of projects. But fundamentally, what you do is helping that company to survive, to make money or save money. So think about your role, your contribution beyond the day-to-day duties. Okay, so it's a tough one to get your head around. But if you think about making money, that could be increasing sales, increasing revenue, client retention. You could be involved in new product development, but ultimately those things help a company make money. Conversely, if you're talking about saving money, you're really looking at identifying opportunities to improve efficiencies, improve productivity. Perhaps you might be in procurement and you've saved or negotiated contract reductions, which in turn have resulted in the award of new projects. So think beyond the day-to-day job description. It's very important. And if you weave those examples and accomplishments into a CV, they will certainly help you stand out and the recruiters will take notice. The next thing I wanted to talk about is being sure you really understand what the company is looking for. Now, job descriptions are not written equally. Quite often a job description isn't even written by the hiring manager. Sometimes they're written by HR, sometimes they're written by a recruiter, sometimes they're sent overseas in batches to be written. So if you come across a job description on a job board or LinkedIn, for example, that's very, very sparse in information, and you sit down, you take the time and effort to write a CV to that very limited job description, you're not giving yourself the best chance possible of selling what it is you do. So what I do recommend is research. Invest some time before you start writing your CV in searching LinkedIn, searching the job boards for as many positions as possible that catch your eye. Look for the well-written ones. They're going to be vacancies with links to job descriptions. Job descriptions trump vacancy descriptions any day. But create a master document. It could be 10, 12, 15, 20 pages long. Wow. Yeah, it could, whatever it may be, you know, just keep searching. Search for the type of roles, because the more, for example, a mechanical engineer, a mechanical design engineer, Perhaps if you're not limiting yourself to a specific sector, you can look at design engineer roles across various industries and see what they're looking for. And then you can contrast that to your skills and experience. So what this is doing, it's doing two things. It's not only weeding out the roles that you're not suitable for, and it's helping you identify which ones to apply for, ultimately saving you time. But fundamentally, what you're going to be finding is a lot of common themes. Look at job titles. Perhaps your job title is different from the one that they're recruiting for, but when you read the job description, it's exactly the same as what you've been doing. Different industries use different job titles. Have a look at the key skills that they're looking for, the qualifications, the certifications, look at the industry standards and cross-reference those against your own skills. You might like to create a little spreadsheet, but the more information you have about a specific job function, the better you can weave that information into your CV. And that's going to help you grab the attention of the reader, but it's also going to help you with your CV getting past any CV scanning software. The final thing, so the fourth thing I was going to say, I've got two more to go, is when you're reading those job descriptions, think beyond your technical skills. So if you're a welder, obviously you weld. If you're an engineer, you understand engineering concepts. They are your technical skills. But we all know that a job is just so much more than fulfilling those duties. We work in teams. We report to people. We have people reporting to us. We might be client facing. We might be engaging with suppliers. So have a think about your soft skills. So soft skills, communication skills, time management skills, negotiation skills. You will see these skills popping up in the job description master document that you created. So everything I'm recommending all flows together and helps you understand what they're looking for versus what you can offer. Look at the keywords, look at the soft skills and incorporate them into your CV. Hard skills, soft skills, there's actually a third one, which is professional qualities. So they say the ideal candidate is made up of hard skills, so qualifications, technical knowledge, soft skills plus professional qualities. Now you've got to be careful with professional qualities because they are subjective. But again, reading through those job descriptions, you might see innovative, you might see creative, things like analytical, you may be willing to learn or a quick learner. If the job descriptions repeatedly are looking for people with those professional qualities, there's no harm scattering them through the CV. Just don't overdo it.
I have a question about those, because as you say, it's very subjective. So to say that you're a quick learner, okay, well, you could say you're a quick learner, but I can think, well, what does that mean?
Who's to say? Again, who?
So do you have to give it instances of these things or just, as you say, scatter them throughout?
Yeah, absolutely. There are ways to do it within a CV. You could write demonstrated, effective, or a highly motivated approach to, or highly methodical approach to problem solving by doing X, Y, Z, or exhibited behavior, which, there are ways in which you can incorporate that into the CV. But yes, you should be able to back it up. Depending on where you're at in your career, these things can be incorporated with examples. But if you're a graduate, then you might just have to scatter some through without having that supportive information to back you up, just simply due to limited experience. Yeah. But again, every CV is unique to its owner. The final thing I'm going to recommend, so we have identified the key brands. We understand the employer's mindset at a macro level. What a business is here for? What can I do other than just do my job every day? What value am I bringing? We understand what the employer wants in an open position, even if they themselves can't articulate it properly. We've gone and done our research. We know what they're looking for. We know our hard skills, soft skills. We know our professional qualities. Now it's time to write the CV. So my final and probably top tip for writing CVs, regardless of what industry you are, is remember that time is of the essence. And what I'm referring to here is the reader's time. You've got seconds to grab the reader's attention. And the best way to view that is to consider the top half of the page as being absolutely prime real estate, prime property. So the title of your CV, what you are known for, your branding statement, the first few lines of your summary, and the first couple of bullet points of your most recent position are the key parts of your CV that could deliver the biggest impact to the reader. So think very, very carefully about what words you want placed within the top half of the CV.
Mm. Yeah. And again, that would go for your LinkedIn profile, I would imagine too.
Absolutely. The holy grail of personal branding is CV, LinkedIn, and the way that you conduct yourself in public and online. Absolutely. When I refer to CV writing, I am also referring to LinkedIn at the same time these days. Two different beasts, but they do work harmoniously together. LinkedIn is a one-size-fits-all solution. You know, we're limited by what LinkedIn allows us, what sections we can put in, what sections they choose to show. Whereas CV is an evolving document and it's tailored for each and every position. But absolutely, the writing, the keywords, the skills, the professional qualities must be expressed in both forms.
Brilliant. My gosh, there's a lot of advice there. A lot of
I could talk about each of those separately to the cows come home. I really could, but it just goes beyond the classic do's and don'ts. You can find that anywhere. It's just about getting yourself in the right mindset. And I call it front end loading. You know, in a project, you front end load. You do all your surveys, you do all of your understanding the client requirements before you put your bid together. It's very much the same with CV writing. Understand the market. What are they looking for? And then your bid is your CV. It's your selling marketing document.
Yeah, yeah. And that is, I mean, it basically backs up something that I very much believe in, that if you get made redundant, do not just get home and send out a load of CVs and job applications in a panic.
Yes.
You know, take a bit of time and think about what it is that you want, what you have to offer, as you say, and how to present that.
It's that, you know, regardless of what industry you're in, it's funny, people say it's a small industry. And if you're talking to recruiters who are specialists in that industry or specialists for that particular discipline, for example, procurement specialist recruiters, oil and gas recruiters, you're going to get known if you do the whole spray and pray, as it's known as, getting in there. And I mean, recruiters do it too. Recruiters get CVs. They shouldn't be doing it anymore because of GDPR. But in the past, it was called spray and pray. And the recruiters would just send CVs out to clients without actually understanding the client's requirements and how that candidate would fit into their culture. And now the tables are turned. The job market is a lot more competitive.
Yeah.
So the power is in the recruiter / hiring manager's hands. And we don't want it now being, as you say, the candidate sending their CV out everywhere, because people are going to find out.
Yeah, wise words.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So obviously everything that Amelia has said today is applicable for anybody in any industry. So I hope that you found that useful. If you are in construction, manufacturing, trades, then join us for our part 2 section, where we'll be delving a little bit more into getting a job within those areas. So thank you, Amelia.
Thank you so much, Paula. I appreciate that.